Hello and welcome to Tasting with Mike and Matt. I'm Mike Veach and this is my partner in crime, Matt Kohorst.
Howdy.
And today we have a really fun tasting. We have two bottles that are Maker's private selections.
Mm-hmm.
One of the selection was done by the Master Distiller, Denny Potter. And the other one was done by the Master of Maturation, Jane Bowie. Now, Jane is a good friend of mine. Denny's actually a pretty good friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Love them both. And they're a little bit of a, competition. There's always been a competition between the distiller and the warehouse managers. Which is more important, the distillation or the maturation.
Right.
Now, I tend to lean towards the distillation, and I'll tell you why. Lincoln Henderson says you got to make it right at every stage of the way, otherwise it's not going to be good whiskey. But if you don't start with good whiskey to start with, it doesn't matter what you do in the warehouse, it's not going to be good whiskey.
That makes sense.
So I'm going to say the most important part is getting it right to start with the distillation. Sorry, Jane, but that's my opinion. If it's not good whiskey to start with, no matter what you do in the warehouse, it's not going to be good.
You just can't save it in the warehouse?
No, you can't. But you can ruin it in the warehouse. You can take good whiskey and ruin it in the warehouse.
You can take good whiskey and make it great in the warehouse, right?
I mean, you can take good whiskey and make it great in the warehouse.
There you go, Jane. There we go.
So there you go. So there you go, Matt. You're a big fan of Jane. She's a lovely person, and she would love you for it. So the first one here is the Maker's Mark 46 Master Distiller selection. And it's made with 3 baked American puree, 2 French Cuvée, 3 of the Maker's 46, and 2 of the French Spice. None of the new French Mendiant.
So the Master Distiller says none of the new stuff.
Yeah.
Let's stick with the old school.
Let's stick with the old stuff.
I like that. That's such a cool thing about Makers is that they have that.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to pay enough, you could create your own,
Right.
Right.
Right. It's like $10,000 to do this, but you could do this.
You could do it.
Yeah, this is 113.2 proof, in case I didn't mention it. So, they always use barrel strength makers when they do this. They take barrel strength makers, they pick their staves that they're going to use, put them in the barrel, put the barrel back together, and then fill it with barrel strength makers, and then age it for about another 60 to 90 days, I think it is, in the cave.
Do you think that's what makes Makers so great is that, number one, obviously the bottle has always been, very recognizable.
Right.
That's a big deal, the wax.
Right.
The wax top. And then also now they have, they've had this thing where,
It's the most unique barrel selection process out there.
It's really cool. I just really like that.
Yeah.
And, you get that chance to make your own, which is kind of neat, That's really cool. If you have $10,000, you can make your own barrel.
Right. So let's nose this. Immediately, a lot of vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
A little caramel, a little spice. Not any fruit.
Not getting any fruit?
No.
Really.
Which is kind of disappointing me, because I like, you probably like this better than I do on the nose, because you like a spicy bourbon.
I do, and I love the spiciness of it.
Mm-hmm. You see, and I like a fruity bourbon. But I'm not getting any fruit on this. It's not bad. It's not a bad nose.
To me, it's a really good, trying to get those, pick out the spices in it, because it's 2 or 3 in there.
There's a real party of spices in there.
Mm-hmm.
Just from the nose, I'd have to say there's some nutmeg, maybe a little cinnamon, maybe a little white pepper.
Mm-hmm. I'd go with white pepper, cinnamon, yeah, for sure. Yeah, no nutmeg.
Well, let's
I think you
taste it
nailed
and see if it'll.
That's tasty.
Yeah.
That's
Vanilla, definitely. I'm getting fruit in this finally. Some apple. Real ripe apple.
Nice that ripe apple. Vanilla ripe apple.
The baking spice is definitely cinnamon and ginger.
Yeah. Yeah, and it carries through in the finish.
In the finish,
nicely.
I'm getting that oak. But you know what's interesting for me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting the oak and I'm getting that ginger cinnamon spice, but I'm getting like a little hint of almost like lemon zest.
Interesting. Yeah. I think I'm getting a little cinnamon in my right in the end there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And man, that finish really lingers there. It's
Right.
just sitting right there with me, like nice and warm. Yeah.
Well,
I'm
let's see
enjoying
what a
this one.
cranberry does.
Well, there's that citrus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting like
But the apple's gone.
the apple's
It's
gone.
all citrus.
It's all citrusy and vanilla.
Yeah.
And the spice turns more in, for me, like it turns more into that
White pepper.
white pepper. Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest with you, I don't think I quite like it as well with the cranberries I didn't eat.
I don't either.
It's not bad.
But it like makes it more basic.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it does. You're, that's exactly what it makes it more pedestrian.
Yeah. Hey, so if you were one that, we're getting started and you didn't want to like go crazy with the flavors, you want that,
Yeah.
Then what would that make? What kind of cocktail would you make with that?
Oh, I'd go for an old fashioned.
Old fashioned. Yeah.
Palate. Let's try it with a pecan.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's better than the cranberry.
It is. You get that vanilla comes right back.
Right.
Of course.
Almost a French vanilla.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so. Yep.
And then
There's is it like hazelnut or something comes through there? I'm not
yeah,
sure. There's
there is definitely the pecan brings out a lot more of the tannic nuttiness.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it is just that pecan lingering.
Maybe so. Yeah, and the finish, pretty much like the neat for me.
Mhm.
Like it sits there. It's very nice, very pleasant.
Well, like the neat, except for one thing, I'm not getting that lingering
No.
citrus.
Mm-mm.
It's all oak and spice.
Yeah.
All right, so let's cleanse our palate. And let's try it with a piece of Hershey dark chocolate.
It almost makes it a little tannic for me.
Yeah. That really brings out the wood tanning
Mhm.
at the expense of everything else.
I think so. Yeah.
I'm not sure I like this as much with the chocolate as I do with any of the other stuff.
Right. I agree with that. I think neat's your way to go, or try it with the pecan. With the dark chocolate, yeah, I think it just kind of like flushed it out a little bit and just made it like a little harsher.
Yeah.
But if you're drinking it neat, man, that's a very, very good bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah. Well, let's cleanse our palate. So the next one here was a selection made by the Master of Maturation. which in this case is Jane Bowie. Now, I don't know if you've ever met Jane, but Jane is in charge of all these special projects from the Maker's 46, new innovations and such. You know, she's the person we worked with when we did the writers selection, for the Lee Initiative. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jane is one of the best people you'll ever meet in the industry. She's just a real sweetheart. So what she has here, and she has selected, this is 113.3 proof, higher proof than Denny's. It's got 2 of the American Pure, Baked American Pure, 4 of the Maker's 46, but 3 of the Roasted French Mocha. Not the Mendiant, but the Mocha. She went back to the Mocha, evidently.
So she wants that chocolate.
Yeah, she wants some of that chocolate.
Yeah.
And 1 of the toasted French spice.
Okay. All right. Cool.
So, I can guarantee you, Jane and Denny were probably very competitive when they were picking these. Jane is a very competitive person. She's a real sweetheart.
Well, that's what makes good stuff. Is you gotta be competitive.
That's right.
I mean, I'm already.
I did a blog on Jane.
Oh yeah.
On innovation and such. She is just a real treasure to the industry. Makers is lucky to have her.
Oh, that's awesome.
So.
Caramel.
Yeah, a lot of caramel.
Citrus.
But interesting enough, I don't think the nose is quite as complex as the first one. Let me try warming it up a little bit.
I think you're right there, though. Yeah.
I think Denny wins it on the nose. Yeah, even after you warm it up, you're getting that vanilla. You're getting a little.
Getting the citrus.
Little citrus. Not much spice.
Not much spice. No.
Little oak.
All right.
So let's try tasting it. Oh, for me, she definitely wins it on the taste. I'm getting a lot of caramel. I'm getting like a really ripe apple, or with a little bit of pear.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, like a candied apple that you get, like not a caramel apple, but a candied apple.
Yeah.
You ever had those before?
Yeah.
It's kind of that sweet and.
But I'm getting a little bit of sweet baking spices. Not so much ginger, but a little bit of like cardamom, allspice, little oak, maybe just a hint of chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly on the finish.
Yeah, the complexity is pretty brilliant in this one. That's really
so.
good.
So I'm gonna have to give it to Jane on the taste. Denny won on the nose, but Jane on the taste.
Mm-hmm. I'm on the fence still.
You're on the fence. Well, let's cleanse our palate. Let's try a cranberry.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Have you ever had like a cherry limeade before?
Yeah.
It's kind of like you get that cherry limeade feel.
Kind of like a cherry Sprite, or I'm trying to think of something that other people might think of.
Yeah, if you've ever been to Sonic, you know what I'm talking about.
Or I'll tell you what I'm thinking of
drink ever.
is if you ever been to one of these old-fashioned soda fountain places.
Yeah.
Where you can kind of make your own soda.
Mm-hmm. You get that, that's really good. And you get the hints of vanilla and stuff, but man, that really brought out the fruit for me.
Yeah.
That's why I'm getting a cherry limeade.
Yeah.
Because of the fruit.
Once again, I think Jane wins it on
She wins it on the cran. Yeah, for sure. That was really good.
Let's see what a pecan does. Oh, that's really good. That makes that apple like a kind of a tart green apple.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a lot of caramel.
A lot of caramel there. Mm-hmm.
Not so much spice, but what spice is there is like a white pepper.
Mm-hmm. Like a floral
White pepper.
The
Little
finish is nice and medium.
Mm-hmm.
Long. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think the finish is more pleasant than any that I've had yet.
I think so too.
And so once again, I think Jane's winning it on the with the pecan.
All right. Okay. All right. I'll agree with that.
This is your last chance, Denny. Let's try it with a piece of chocolate.
Okay, well, chocolate caramel apple pie. It really, it's really good. That's really good with that. I really liked that.
Yeah.
Taste of whiskey I just had there. That was really good.
Well, being the fact that I didn't think the chocolate did anything for Denny's choice, I have to give Jane the. So I'm thinking
thing. You know, like I think neat for me neat. Then. The rest.
You say you like a spicy bourbon, so you're gonna go with Denny on that one for sure.
Got to, yeah.
But I like the fruity bourbon. I'm gonna go with Jane.
All right, yeah. Well,
but they both did damn good jobs.
Yeah, I mean you can't go wrong with either of those. Those are wonderful.
Yeah.
Drink right there.
so Jane and Denny, both of you are great, but great selections here. But I'm giving it to Jane and Matt's giving it to Denny.
There we go.
Cheers
to both.